podcast focused on trends shaping the future of manufacturing. I'm Alexandria Burek, your host, here with A.W. Schultz, two thought leaders with a passion for people and manufacturing. Today and every episode, we are diving deep into the advancements, sustainable practices, and dynamic changes transforming how we produce everything.
And now welcome Alexandria Burek and A.W. Schultz.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Factory of the Future. I'm here with A.W. Schultz. I'm Alexandria Burek. Today, we're going to be diving into the crux of Industry 4.0. We're super excited to take a different approach. So moving away from our hats on the factory floor and into the position of the consumer. So essentially, the reason that this topic came to light was I sent AW a Instagram reel. He's going to pull it up on the screen so you could see what I'm talking about. It's essentially this robot that's out there like furiously picking groceries, and all these robots are like passing by each other. No one's bumping into each other. And I thought, oh my God, this is so cool. This is so advanced. But then as I continue to think about it, I was like, oh, this is not good. Like, we are already alone and isolated as a society as it is. And if we continue to do things that further that isolation, like eliminating the grocery store exchange with a cashier. I mean, a lot of us do self-checkout, but at least you have to walk by a person to get to the self-checkout and greet them of some sort or make some eye contact. And if we keep stripping these minor and minimal interactions with people, I'm really concerned how we'll be as a community and as a race. So that segued into some kind of observations about what we might be as a company or as a group over optimizing and overutilizing technology where it doesn't belong, and underutilizing technology where it could best serve the human and consumer experience. So AW, I would love to hear some of your research and how it plays in. As usual, take it away with some facts, and then we can dive into some additional conversation.
I like how you're given that visual on the automation of it, because it was pretty cool that they had opened all these chutes and it was dropping in the groceries into it.
Yeah. But
I think that you're right, and we're over sophisticating it. Mm-hmm. And part of what I've been researching is how Industry 4.0 is flattening a lot of productivity that's occurring. And while you might have these great companies that are offering this amazing software, this amazing technologies, there's still that human element that someone has to take ownership of it.
Yeah.
And what I've been seeing is that there's a couple things that usually occur, and we're going back to the factory background, but we're gonna go back to the customer service in a moment. But what we see is that a lot of these employees, they're turned off by it. And I've had that firsthand experience of where I've had people apply to different positions within their organizations just so they wouldn't have to learn this technology because they were so intimidated by it. And what I've seen from some different research that's gone out there is that it's led to a lot of people having burnout because they're stressed on it. There's people in the world that take positions. They enjoy going into what they expect a day to day and what they understand and moving their hands and moving it back and forth.
Yeah.
And certainly it's no knock on these manufacturing companies that want to add this new technology to it, but it's have to take into account that, one, we've got a labor shortage within manufacturing. It's over 600,000 people right now in the US, and it's projected to be over 1 million in the next 5 years.
Yeah.
And if you're dealing that with the amount of technologies, there's something that's got to give, and there's something that's showing. So when we talk about Industrial 4.0, it's also understanding 5.0 is recognizing that there was a little bit of problem that we have to find a calibration between humans and machines, and Industry 5.0 talks about that human-centric approach to drive some of that behaviors. So taking a step back into what we probably see in your day to day as you go into you're calling customer service, and I think we both went on a tangent when we started talking about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Or for me, I had a recent episode where I had to take my son's watch into Apple because it was having a problem. Once I arrived, I had made an appointment online for the day prior, so I had a window. When arriving, I was checked in. I was asked to go wait over by the cubes, which is a bunch of little boxes that you sit on and wait. And someone came around asking for, well, essentially it was my wife's name because that's where the account was under, and my wife's got a very unique name, so I understood who they were calling for. They forgot to update that once the first person that met me wasn't able to meet my demands. So the second person that came in that they switched them out for,
Your upgraded customer service, your level 2, right?
my level two, yeah, thank
Yeah.
you. My level two person running diagnostics on
Yeah.
my son's watch, showing that it was fine. And I wanted to go home and tell my son his watch was fine because he tells me it's not. And he shows me, by the way, he's very polite on that matter. So I don't want to put him under the saying he's a bad kid, but he's having customer service problems and he needs an adult to take care of it.
Yeah.
So that was day one. And what they said was, well, your Apple Care has it expired. And I said, no, it hasn't. It says I still have 23 days left. They said, well, on the app that we have, it shows it has. So, and I updated it right then, saying now you can see it's updated. Well, it's still not in our system. So why don't you come back tomorrow? And then you still have your 5-day window to do that. And then you can have it looked at. So I came back 2 days later after I validated that Apple Care was in effect.
Like, can you see it on your side? Can you see it on your side? I'm not coming in if you don't see it.
Yeah, I called in to the customer. Yeah, they had it. So I come back in, have the window. I got to go sit at another seat
Nice.
where I sat for a while, and I gave the most uncomfortable look because everyone else is on their phone. I chose to sit there.
No, you're like, I'm sitting here. I'm not killing time.
Yeah, this is a superpower I have though, Alexandria. I can sit there and make everyone feel uncomfortable just by the way I sit.
Oh, I do that too. I'm
You
not
got
one
that
who,
superpower?
yeah.
Okay.
Did you see the John Christ? Sorry, we're gonna go off on a little sidebar tangent here. Did you see the John Christ like stand up bit? And he's like, "What are we doing? Get on your phone. You're making people uncomfortable. Like you're at a red light. Get on your phone." Like it was kind of funny. I enjoyed his bits on that. So sorry.
Yeah, yeah. So I waited, and it was about 30 some minutes into it, and then the manager I think came over with his technology advice saying the next person comes over here, which I did notice they were having it looked like a shift change going on because there was people coming in and people leaving.
Mental note: don't book an Apple window at this shift change.
It was lunchtime. No, it was 2 o'clock, I think, their time. But yeah, so the next person comes in, and I realize I'm dragging the story out, but I want to emphasize how much work it went to. That the person comes over and says, well, the guy says, bring the phone in. If you got Apple Care, we'll ship it off. They'll send it to you the next day. Don't worry about it.
Mm-hmm.
So he says, okay, yeah, we got that. I got that. Okay. And then what's your number? Okay. So Apple Care is going to call you, and if you've been with Apple, you realize they don't fix phones or devices at the store.
No.
They go to you call Apple. So I was sitting there waiting for another.
Can we just pause for 2 seconds? Can I just summarize this for like real quick, just for 1 second?
Sure.
So you were asked to book 2 appointments. The second appointment after you had been to the first appointment was to come back to the store so you could call Apple Care.
That's what their solution was, and then they said I could get a new watch because it was defective, which it turns out they
and they
wouldn't
still
do
weren't
it.
going to give it to you at the store. I know this. Yeah.
No, I already had to send it in. And then they said my Apple Care, because it was this, wouldn't work. So I got mad. I walked out. But then I reflected on it, and I started thinking about, reverting back to the manufacturing world. You've got skilled labor and you got semi-skilled labor.
Yeah.
And I would have imagined I was going to be working with semi-skilled labor, only to realize that, they were being marched around by what was going on their iPads.
Yeah.
And they've got very limitations of what they can do. They go through the checklist, don't meet it, they escalate on.
No agency, no autonomy, no thought actually on their own, no problem solving on their own.
That I did, yeah,
It's
that I
making
noticed
people
that there
dumb.
was on
It's
there.
making
So
people dumb. Yeah.
very unskilled on it.
Yeah.
And you would think that they were more of a skilled labor
Yeah.
industry. And I tell this story because when you look at industrial 5.0 versus 4.0, we talked about customer service experience. I didn't have a good customer service experience because I got moved around because I had unskilled labor trying to fix my problem.
Yeah, and honestly, there's like 17 different ways I think you could have like they could have made this experience better for you. And I think that goes into like the same scenario that I was telling you about with OnClouds. Like the on shoe running company, right? So like I ordered the first, actually we'll dial it back. So I went
Yeah,
to
dial back.
I went to a physical store, Dick's Sporting Goods, which we have them in the Midwest. I'm not sure if you have them
We
in
do.
Texas. Yeah. Okay. So Dick's Sporting Goods, went there, couldn't actually talk directly to the associate who was supposed to be helping people. I had to like first check in on an iPad, which that's a little bit agitating. Like I'm physically here. Why do I have to, at least at the deli counter, all you had to do was take a number back in the day. But now I've got to like put my name and my phone number into this iPad at Dick's Sporting Goods. Like that's dumb to me. That's dumb. I
And
can't,
we like technology.
like we like
Let's
technology,
go
but like
back and forth. We enjoy it.
I
And
embrace it in every way.
okay, go
But
ahead.
this goes back to our point of companies are over optimizing and overusing technology in places they should be doubling down on the human element, and they're underutilizing technology in and overusing humans to do the things that could be exponentially sped up by technology. So they have one human working. The human is running to get the shoes. That would be a great place to put a fucking robot. Excuse me. That's where the robot can go get the size 8.5 white on cloud monster twos. They should be if your warehouse is organized correctly. But instead, the human is doing that. The human should be just face to face with other humans. The robot should be serving the human the product it needs in that scenario. With the OnClouds, I had to battle. Firstly, the technology would not recognize my order number in any part of the scenario. So then I would have to chat with a robot, only to then have to convince the robot that I deserve to talk to a human, which that's just not good. Like I think everyone's been on the whole like put your name in, put your phone number in. And AW, you brought this up too. Like why do I have to give you that information? If I'm giving it to a robot, the robot should be able to at least regurgitate it to the human that I'm convincing the robot that I deserve to talk to. None of that's taking place. So I go through, have the same conversations 2 to 3 times with the robot to get to the human to return and exchange the shoes. And OnClouds tells me that this process is likely to take 14 to 21 business days. I was like, how is that possible today? So another example, they're over optimizing and using technology where they should be like the investment should be have a call center where I call and I just go directly to a human who takes my order, who's like, hey, we're going to get this resolved. Then instead of having a human in Tennessee, Lebanon, Tennessee, receiving my shoes, waiting for that human to open the box, look at the shoe, say, oh, it doesn't have any scuffs. We'll take it. She didn't wear them outside. It's fine. Return. That's where the technology should be. The technology should be unboxing. There's no reason we can't use a robot to unbox. There's no reason we can't use a robot to repackage the shoes. The robot should be unboxing, repackaging, inspecting the shoes. The human should be dealing with the humans. And that's as simple as that. So I think we've got this all backwards because I could tell you based on the time frame in the process, OnClouds is having the robots deal with the humans and the humans deal with the shoes. They should have the humans dealing with the humans and the robots dealing with the shoes. Same thing with Apple. Like you could make a very strong case that that company is so advanced. There's not really any reason that they couldn't have a AI supercomputer, quantum computer repair robot in the back of an Apple store who's able to whip, fix your device, change out these motherboards, put it back together and get it back out to you right then and there. But what meanwhile that human is talking to you about how you use your devices and is upselling you on additional newer technologies that you'd be happier to have. That would be the right combination of human and technology, but they've got it backwards right now. And that's what Industry
Well, I
4.0
don't know
is
what
all
that
about.
technology is right now on that robot that assembles the stuff, but I certainly know my experience. You know, the labor was not. It was they were operating through a machine that
And
was
they weren't
telling the people
satisfied.
what to do.
Yeah, and they weren't you can't tell me based on all the industrial psychology work that you do and all of the like talk that we have on the show about autonomy, agency and all these things. There is zero. That kills the human spirit what those people are doing, following around whatever the prompt of the iPad says to do, and then they just have to go do it like little rats on a hamster wheel. That's what's killing the human brain. That's what's killing the human spirit. And same thing, like with the picking of the groceries. I was originally very excited about that, but I was like, there's something that we get about connecting to our food, like holding an apple in our hand or holding a banana in our hand. What if we like a slightly riper banana, or what if we like a slightly less ripe banana? We don't get that experience and that ability to choose that when a robot is zooming across very organized charts of food and putting it in a bag. You're just getting whatever banana's in there. And I think that's my big concern for our society and for business as a whole and for consumer experience. But I would really love businesses, especially large corporations, to really think about where they're putting the human investment and where they're putting the people or the robots.
So let me throw you a bone here.
Okay, throw me a bone.
Well, they always ask for customer feedback. So shouldn't that fix the problem when that comes in?
Well, you're gonna get me going on something.
Well, sometimes it's the
You're
question
gonna get me going. You're gonna
because
get me
I'll
going.
tell you
I'm gonna
something
go.
about filling out feedbacks is that you got to make it quick and fast and to the point. Um, and that's if you're not asking the right questions, you're not going to get the right answers, right? And that's what separates good companies from bad. And certainly, I'm talking about Apple. I mean, I'm saying that they've got some issues there,
Yeah,
what they need, some things they need to work on.
yeah.
And I'm just, if you ever see me in an Apple store, you know I'm not happy. I walk out in the mall and I see people getting the pictures with their new phones, and they're, coming out. I think that's not me. I don't
No.
like going to
I
those
I
stores.
have to say I've pretty much learned that I don't go to an Apple store unless I'm just gonna buy something and walk away with it. Like if I'm doing that, I'm happy to go to an Apple store. But I've had some issues with my watch and I just call customer service. I just call customer service. But on the customer feedback, I'll tell you a real quick story before we close out. And it's almost tied to like my womanly experience in life. So for the record, I worked at Golf Galaxy. That was my first job. I was a cashier at Golf Galaxy for 2 years, age 16 to 18.
Cool.
And yeah, it was fun, which during that time, Golf Galaxy was actually, fun fact, acquired by Dick's Sporting Goods. So we're bringing it full
Say
circle
that.
here. And like I was really perturbed and like off put by the the lack of women's golf clothes available to us in the Golf Galaxy store. Actually, it may have been Dick's. I can't remember. I don't know why I keep shopping there, but that's okay. Maybe I'll catch on eventually. Um, and so like I think there were like two shirts for women to choose from for golf. Like two shirts, one I don't even know. I don't even think we had a one pant, one short, one skirt option. And I called customer service. This is probably 7 years ago. And I just kept calling. I was like, no, I want to speak to a manager. I feel discriminated against as a woman. I think this is terrible. I know that you guys have organizations that are like encouraging people to play sports. I'm like, how are girls going to get into golf if if they don't even see a women's golf section at your sporting goods store?
Yeah.
I said, that's terrible. I haven't seen any grand improvements based on my tenacious and that was like a week long pursuit. Like I literally was committed to that. I for a week kept escalating up to the highest levels of customer service and they were like, "We'll take your feedback. Thanks so much."
So mental note, don't
Can't
get on Alexander's bad side.
can't be
He
the only
doesn't
one.
forget.
Can't be the only one. She doesn't forget, but she keeps shopping at their stores. That's my foolishly optimistic personality. Like I just like I keep going back being like they're gonna get better. It'll get better this time. I'm sure of it. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So with that, what are we gonna talk about next episode? Because we have something that kind of ties in with this, don't we? Or in the next couple of episodes? What do we
Yeah, we're going to be talking a little bit about Industria 4.0.
Yeah.
And we spent the last night dissing it, but I think there's some information that can be taken away from it. And also, bridging those gaps on it. Like how can these things be fixed on it? Because it's a great, the technology on there is so good. The AI, the big data, but it's the human experience, the human centric approach to it. People and machines working together, but there is a gap right now, and that's what we're going to start unwrapping.
Yeah, and I think this case study with Apple that you had, I feel like we could really use that, kind of carry that into the next episode or whatever episode it is that we were going to talk about that, where we could talk about what those Apple employees experience is, because it's probably not satisfaction. They're probably not fulfilled and thrilled about everything that they're doing every day when based on what you described and based on what I think people are looking for.
They don't want to work with me. I wouldn't.
Well, not you, but I'm saying like the technology, like the way the technology is just telling them what to do. Like I would think that they would have some idea, like they probably know what the solution is, but because the technology, the strict rules, they probably can't actually serve you in the best way possible. And so I think that's something we could talk about too.
Yeah. Okay.
But I think we're clocking out.
We are clocking out, like we're checking out like finished goods.
We're out of here like finished goods. So
right,
we'll catch you guys next time. Thanks so much for tuning in.
This is Factory the Future, and we are out of here like finished goods. Stay tuned for our next episode of Factory of the Future, where we're exploring groundbreaking techniques and behaviors that are reshaping industrial landscapes. Don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review and help others discover the cutting-edge insights transforming manufacturing as we know it.